What's up, everybody? This is Kyle of the Arcade Hack with my next edition of Nerd News. Just doing chronologically doing all the nerd news that I kind of come across through over the week. Meant to release it a little bit earlier, but yeah, got a little sidetracked, unfortunately. So this week, I want to talk Gotham, new series that DC's putting out. They've been really kind of attacking on the TV front more than Marvel has. Now with the emergence of Gotham, they have Arrow, and now they're going to have the Flash as well, I believe. And Marvel's not really capitalizing too much. I mean, they got Agents of Shield, and they have that new Agent Carter one, I guess, which I don't really know how well it's going to do. But and I think actually I read the other day that Marvel's actually doing Daredevil. They're going to have a Netflix series of Daredevil, which will be pretty fucking cool to see. But Gotham, I know a lot of people haven't been interested in it because a lot of people have been seeing it as, they're focusing on the villains. Like, Batman's not even involved. He's a kid at this point, like, right? So he's really out of the picture. It's really focusing more on Jim Gordon and his rise through the police force and the emergence of these villains, which I think is good. It has the potential to be awesome. It's just, I don't know. I hope they do a good job. I'm going to watch it no matter what because I do want to see what they're going to do with it. But it's cool to do the emergence of these villains, but then once they've kind of emerged and you've seen their story, I mean, they can go to another villain, but then it's almost like kind of anticlimactic, right? Like you see this person's rise to power, and you're like, oh, okay, sweet, this is how they became a villain, and then just nothing. Like they almost need it to be slightly pre-origin of Batman, like these villains emerging and kind of becoming who they are, and then Batman sort of slowly starting to come into the frame. But the way they're doing it, I mean, I'm sure it probably won't be bad considering how much money and in terms of the acting caliber that they've got going on for this. I mean, I don't think that they're really gonna fuck it up too bad. I think they're putting so much money into it they can't really afford to fail. So I think they'll do a pretty good job. Next on, again, just as I mentioned it a minute ago, I actually started watching Arrow the other day, mainly because, again, I heard that there's been rumors again going around for a while now that they're going to have Nightwing in it, which, again, to me was just like such a badass sort of center point. So that kind of sold me, and I mean, I've watched, I think I'm halfway done season 1 right now, and it is just phenomenal TV. If you guys haven't checked it out, I really strongly recommend you do. Sony is winning the race right now for the first solo female superhero movie of the new franchises here. They actually have announced that they're going to do a not Black Widow, Black Cat movie from Spiderman, which will be, again, Felicia Hardy becoming the Black Cat, kind of, going with Spider-Man there. So, I mean, that is potentially, there's been a couple rumors of why they've delayed the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Some people say it's because they're making this movie. Other people think that it's just, they're having problems or something like that. Other people have suspected that possibly the third Avengers film will actually be co-funded by Sony and Marvel, and that, they'll bring Spider-Man into it, which would be pretty cool. But, I mean, again, at this point, that's all complete speculation. Who knows what's true, if it'll fly or whatever. I'm hopeful, but we'll see what happens, right? I also watched there's a Avengers Confidential. It's a short animated film on about the Punisher and Black Widow. Kind of watched it, didn't really care for it. I mean, I watched the Iron Man Hulk one, and I thought that was actually really well done. Black Widow Punisher wasn't really a huge fan. I mean, I never really I liked the Punisher movie. I liked the first one they made. The second one, I was kind of leery about it because they changed the actor because Thomas Jane did such a great job. But the second one, it was like good. They had a cool story. I just wasn't really a fan of the guy who replaced. I actually can't even remember who it was. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really a huge fan. I watched Batman Assault on Arkham, amazing animated film, kind of Batman film focusing more on villains. That's made more for adults, which I quite enjoyed. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I actually just started watching, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm watching Son of Batman, which is, again, done kind of the same way, and it seems pretty awesome, following Damian, which looks like it'll be pretty badass. But again, getting back to more of that one once I actually finish watching it. Lot of news on the Batman Superman front. I don't know. myself, I just I want to be excited for this movie. I honestly and truly do. I just every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. But then I don't know. I see that they're trying to do so much with it. Like they want to have cameos for pretty much almost the entire Justice League. Like they want to have Aquaman, Wonder Woman. Like they want to have everyone cameoing in this movie. But like I don't know. It's cool that they want to do that. That they're leading up to it. But I mean, to me, it just seems like they're biting off way more than they can chew. I mean, that's a lot of stars that they're trying to throw all in there. Um, but again, I guess we'll see how that pans out. And on that front, actually, Marvel officially won the war. Sorry, I'm sick, so if you hear me sniffling or coughing or anything, I apologize. Um, Marvel won the war finally. The DC's Batman vs Superman and Captain America 3 were set to come out on the same day. Neither company was budging, and finally Marvel took the lead. They actually um, what's called DC was just like, you know what, whatever. They stepped down and they actually moved their movie ahead a month, I think. They moved it like again a month after Captain America 3 to give it adequate time for the films to come out. Um, but yeah, it's a huge Marvel victory. I've always been a huge Marvel fan versus DC. Kind of been, actually I've kind of been swaying a little bit more DC lately. I started reading Nightwing actually, and as well as Harley Quinn, because Harley Quinn's just one crazy bitch and just delightfully entertaining. But yeah, so there's that. Um, Also, I started reading Crossed. I posted on our Facebook page that I got this graphic novel called Crossed, sort of post-apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic future kind of thing going on. And to me, it really reminds me, like, not 100%, but a little bit, it reminds me almost of The Last of Us. Where like, there's some sort of, infection going on. In this case, it's making everyone basically, they're almost like I won't say Neanderthals, but they're just sort of down to their baser instincts, and all they're really trying to do, like all these people do, is they just pillage, rape, and everything else. So I mean, everyone's just trying to stay clear of them and everything else. But it seems really good so far. I haven't gotten super far into it, but again, as it unfolds, I will let you know. Sad news in Hollywood this week. I mean, this isn't really necessarily nerd news, but Robin Williams passing away, huge loss for everyone. I mean, it's a huge part of my childhood, with all the Disney movies as well as all the other fantastic films the man has done. The guy was truly an artistic genius. Um, but yeah, it's very, very sad to see him go. But yes. um, Trying to think of what else that I've done this week in terms of nerdness. Oh, yes, today I actually watched the live stream event of the World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor um, cinematic release and everything else. Very cool thing. Again, like they mentioned in the video, is that this is really the first time that they've ever actually had like an actual live event for just a cinematic release, which is really cool because I mean, the people of Los Angeles could just go down and attend this thing. They had a huge crowd out there. Um, GameStop was kind of, or yeah, GameSpot was sorry. They were kind of running the show and interviewing some of the creators and everything else. And I mean, some of the things they showed were pretty awesome. I mean, they kind of elaborated a lot more. The new PvP zone looks pretty intense. Essentially, they're making it so they have you get these marks for killing stuff and killing players. But when you kill another player, you actually can loot half of their marks. So I think it's making it a little bit more cutthroat. I know me and Brent were talking about this a little bit earlier, about how it's good that they're doing that, but at the same time, it works well. That system almost works well when everyone's on the same ground, like, same like playing field. But like later on when it's, oh, I want to try starting up and, PvPing, and then let's like people have got like say full like, arena tier 2 gear, it's going to be like, it'll be one side and you'll just get destroyed and you won't have really much of an equal chance to kind of do that. So it's I don't know. Again, we'll see what happens, right? Because I mean, that's just they elaborated on it to an extent, but I mean, they obviously don't give you the full story right off the bat, right? The cinematic was just absolutely like just amazingly done. Um, I'll kind of spoil it a little bit here for those who haven't watched it. But the whole initial sequence, they kind of, used it where Grom Hellscream, is talking with Gul'dan and making the deal with Minorith, the what are they called now? I can't remember, but the whatever they are, anyways. So, and he talks about drinking his blood to give him the blood curse, or whatever. And I think this was such a powerful part of what he says. Grom looks at him and says, "Look, this is what there's Gul'dan tells him we will be conquerors, and Grom says, what do we have to give up? And Gul'dan looks at him as like everything, and it's just such a cool scene that you see Grom when he normally would drink it, and then he just goes and he starts spilling it out, and Minorith like goes and attacks him, and there's a big epic fight sequence, and there's just like such a cool moment at the end when Garrosh, you see this hooded figure grab Gorehowl out of the rock and tosses it, and it's Garrosh throwing Gorehowl to his father, and then they're like, Grom is just like, we will be conquerors. He's like, we will not be slaves, but we will be conquerors. And then they like, the beginning of the Iron Horde. Just such a cool moment. But they also talked about in the live stream here when they were interviewing them, talking about garrisons, how it's essentially almost like putting the Warcraft back into Warcraft, on how oh, excuse me, where it's going to be, like, it's not just, you're fighting through and you're killing stuff by yourself. You're making this foothold and making a stronghold and like raising almost like an army so that you can take on the Iron Horde. So, I mean, obviously it's not going to be like a full-out RTS type thing, but it's kind of neat that, they're doing, something along those lines, that they're actually giving you a sense of, what's actually going on here. So, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a really neat event. Glad I watched it. It was about like, I don't know, about 45 minutes, I think. The whole event, which was pretty cool. And then now they've actually announced the release date, which is November 13th, which is pretty exciting. It's 5 days after my birthday. So yeah, I got that to look forward to. They talked about the pre-event. The pre-event for Warlords will be something almost like an invasion. I'm assuming they're going to do it almost like the Elementals things for Cataclysm, where they had like, the stone or whatever would drop, and there'd be like the Elementals you have to try to kill, and there'd be like a pre-event. I think this is more obviously going to be a little bit more probably in-depth and a little bit more along the lines of having it more like, actual, maybe fighting some artillery and actually like warding off invaders kind of thing. Because again, the whole premise of the beginning of it is that the Iron Horde they've changed history now at this point, and they are basically gonna push their way through the Dark Portal and just basically lay waste to Azeroth. So I mean, really cool concept. I'm really excited for it. It should be a really awesome time. Again, they kind of not necessarily disproved it, but everyone was always saying, oh, it's going to be like BC 2.0. I think they're kind of going to go for that mentality, but yeah, like as they explain, is that, it's really, you're going to be going in Shadow Moon Valley, sure, but it's not going to be the Shadow Moon Valley you remember. And I mean, obviously there's going to be some of these heroes, and I mean, the thing I'm kind of really excited for, because I'm kind of a lore geek, is that they have, when you're Alliance, after you make your initial foothold into Draenor, the first major quest hub you get is the Temple of Karabor, which is actually what was Black Temple before that was corrupted. So I'm really excited that that's where you kind of get to go because of the lore aspect of it and everything else. Another thing that they're doing that they announced is they're actually doing it's a little web series that they're doing. And it's 5 episodes, and it's called Lords of War. They showed the first episode already during the live stream, and it's actually all about it's focusing on the 5 key warlords that we are going to be facing in Warlords of Draenor, sort of their backstory, which I think is kind of cool, because how they worded it was, this is so you can care, you have a sense of why you should be trying to bring these guys to justice. So you kind of get a little bit of backstory, and they're kind of giving you a reason to care, I guess. But it's really, really exciting that they're doing something this awesome, and I mean, it's really well done. It starts off with King Varian, and I can't remember the other guy's name for the life of me, which is pretty sad. Again, with me being the lore nerd that I am. But they show him and he talks about how he was there when, there was the initial conflict or whatever, and it starts talking about Karagath Bladefist, and it goes through and it has this like cool kind of comic-y stop animation type thing going on about of how the what's called of sort of how he became, I guess, evil or whatever, and like how he kind of came to his power, and everything else. So I think it's kind of neat how they're going to do that, and I'm really excited that they're going to be doing this. It's going to be pretty wicked. Um, Actually, another thing, strangely enough, because I always make fun of Brent for doing this, I actually got into Hearthstone, which I never thought I would, because I'm more of a Magic the Gathering type person myself. Which, speaking of that, I'm actually going to be having a new kind of podcast type thing where I'm actually going to be. We have a Magic the Gathering league here in Winnipeg, and I'll be kind of going over our stats and talking decks, interviewing the actual players of the league and everything else, and so that's something you guys can be looking forward to in the next little while. We're doing EDH with the God cards from Theos, and so it'll be kind of cool. But yeah, that'll be more to come later. But again, like as I was saying, I'm more of a Magic the Gathering type person, so when I saw Hearthstone, I was like, this is cool, but I could just be playing Magic instead, because I do own Magic for PC as well. Excuse me. But I don't know. I actually played it and started playing some of the decks and different classes and stuff, and it was actually pretty cool. Like, I actually quite enjoyed it. It was once I got into it, like I don't think I really gave it a fair chance the first time I kind of played. Because the first time I kind of played it, I basically played the mage deck that you start off with like a couple times, and then I was just kind of like, whatever, right? Now, this time I've actually unlocked all the classes and like played all the classes and everything else, and kind of gotten a better feel for it. Tried the Curse of Naxxramas. I did first wing on normal so far. I tried the heroic version, and I got kind of raffle stomped there. But again, because I'm still sort of learning at it. But it's, it's actually really fun. I recommend if anyone who hasn't tried it, and give it a shot. Because like I said, I didn't at first, and then I kind of got into it, and it's actually pretty fucking awesome. um, Another thing I want Brent to do, I'm hoping that he'll do, is actually I want him to start doing battle pets videos, because he actually is really good. Like I remember when we first kind of started doing the our like battle pets, I did it and he was like, oh, what is it? And I kind of explained it to him a little bit, and he I showed him what to do, and honestly, man, he like went to town on it. He had it like down to like a science. He was doing pet battles, like when him and his girlfriend would actually play sometimes. We'd be like, oh, hey, Brent, you coming? He's like, I'm doing a pet battle real quick. And like we used to just give him so much shit for it all the time. But yeah, it's one of those things, like I said, he's a champ at it. I really hope that he kind of gets off his ass and starts actually doing some of those, because again, he does like fucking power levels like all his pets up, and he was fucking selling, like power leveling them, then selling them, and like training. He does a celestial tournament every week. I know a lot of times he fails ass at it, but it's one thing actually. I want it almost more for myself than anything, because like I'm pretty okay at it, because obviously the times that I've played Pokemon back in the day, that I kind of have the proficiency for that kind of gameplay from that. But short of that, I don't really have oh, I just died. Doing heroic 10-man Firelands, by the way. Anyways, in case you guys were wondering what I'm kind of doing here, trying it with a couple guildies. But yeah, I honestly want to learn more about battle pets. I have, let's just see here. What do I have for battle pets right now? So I got like I have a couple level 25 pets, but I don't have a lot. They're all dead right now because I think I tried the trainer at Timeless Isle and just got absolutely wrecked. But yeah, so actually today was a day that I actually went and played I have 14 90s, I think. Yeah, all 14 of my 90s, and I did Celestials and Ordos on all 14 of my characters. It's 28 bosses total. Just took so much time just traveling there and doing everything else. And on top of that, I think I only got like one piece of loot, like out of all of that, which is kind of depressing. I mean, I got a lot of Golden Lotus I can sell and make money. Because, like, right now, I'm saving up for the expansion right now, so I got, like, 190k gold. Because, I mean, my main I'm going to level is my Hunter, obviously, and going leatherworking, jewel crafting, I have to buy all my mats, so I'm going to need some money. But I'm actually kind of glad one thing about this expansion, they're actually taking out server first for leveling professions as well as characters. Because I find this one thing it's always pointless. It's always like some guy from France. I think it's like almost every year, like someone from Europe, because like they start slightly before us or something. I don't know. It's something like that. It's weird that they just always end up winning, and it's I don't know. It's kind of sad, and I mean it's sweet that people are that competitive that they just want to strive for it. And I mean, mad props. I have some friends who actually got some server first and like world first, which was pretty badass. But I mean, it's one of those things that like there's cooler world than server first, right? Like getting like bosses down and stuff like that. Like that to me, that's more of an accomplishment than just leveling. It's like cool, you managed to do the prerequisite for doing end game content, but just faster than anyone else, right? Like raiding actually takes skill and everything else. Like it's cool that that they actually reward that as opposed to other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. They've I don't know. There's just cooler things they could do, I guess. It's my end point on that. Just trying to think. I don't think there's anything else I really have to talk about this week. Oh, I've been catching up with the Amazing Spider-Man now that they relaunched it. It's pretty exciting. Kind of weird that they did the whole Superior Spider-Man, so Spider-Man was Doc Ock's brain and Peter Parker's body type thing, and then they kind of just switched back. But I don't know. They're kind of explaining it, but not really. So I don't know. It's kind of okay. I still have mixed feelings about it that they kind of went back and forth and flip-flop, but I am really excited that the Amazing Spider-Man is back. I was kind of pissed off because I was subscribed to the Amazing Spider-Man when it was ending, and my subscription ended at $6.99, and there's only 700 issues, so they didn't even toss me the last one. I literally just had to... I was like, oh, sweet, there's one issue left, and I don't even get it. And of course now I go to my local comic book shop and I can see that issue 700, but it's like $20. And I mean, I know what happens, so I mean, it's not like I'm overly torn up, but like, it's like they had one issue left. Like, why couldn't you just throw me a bone? You're Marvel. I mean, you guys make tons of fucking money. But yeah, that's been pretty exciting. In terms of video, like games for phones, I'm usually not the one that plays a lot of games on my phone. But I've been playing one with my girlfriend and my son, and it's called Zombie Tsunami, and I really recommend that you play it. It's a fucking fantastic game, little side-scroller thing, and yeah, you guys will have great fun doing it. Short of that, I think that's actually all I have this time. Oh, Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes out on video on the 19th, which is pretty exciting. I've been waiting for a while for it to come out. If you want to get the collector's edition, I believe it's Electro's head, and it lights up, which is kind of cool. I think it's like $150 or something like that for like the one movie and the basically a light. Kind of ridiculous price, but because I mean I think the Marvel Phase 1, like the case with the Tesseract in it that came with like it was like 5 or 6 movies was like $150. Like that I could I could probably sell the copies I have of those movies, and it'd be a reasonable price afterwards. I mean, $150 for one movie and basically getting a light. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah. So that's all I got this week, guys. Again, keep listening for our new videos. We'll have probably a new Kyle and Brent Let's Play hopefully soon. During the expansion, we're actually going to be doing. Me and Brent are going to kind of show our leveling and how we're going to level. How we're actually going to be leveling through Warlords of Draenor. We obviously won't do like every... I hate that cinematic when it shows it's a fucking bridge that's going across. Come on. We're going to be showing our leveling. We obviously won't do every little bit of it, but we'll kind of do like maybe one a week and be like, hey, guess what? We've done this since last week. And then they kind of show where we've been, what we've done, all that fun stuff. So look forward to that. And yeah, that's all I got, guys. I'll talk to you later.